12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a lift.
Yahoo!
Hey y'all, this is Ryan Monso, and this is Cats, the Cougar After Thoughts Show. Brad Towns is over there, Martin's down there. But before we get into it, basketball. Tomorrow night, Kellen Sampson, fresh from his super secret scrimmage that might have been in Shreveport.
And might not have been.
It might not have been. They could just be up there, seeing the sights.
It could have been an off-site NBA 2K play session.
It could have been. It probably was not. U of H tied Kansas in the second quarter. That's all I got. Brad?
That's okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to be positive before you go full bore.
Well, no.
Now it's time to go full bore.
Let's vamp a little bit and give people time to come in. I think people might want to hear this.
What the fuck does vamp mean?
Huh?
What does vamp mean?
Stall for time.
I had no idea.
I mean, it's just, casual talk, chatter, kind of like what we do in between. That's the word you use for making time for guests who may be late or waiting for the audience.
You mean Emmanuel
arrive?
Yeah.
I'm not calling out my guy Emmanuel.
No. It wasn't Emmanuel's fault. It wasn't his fault. But it's okay.
He's a good.
Go ahead. What do you want to say?
That was flat out dog shit. They need to. They all need to sit in a room, in a dark room at the airport with the threat of being sent to Siberia or walking home. You get two choices. You're not getting home anytime soon. But that was a colossal fuck up. I mean, that was a clusterfuck top to bottom. You cannot perform that way coming off a fucking bye week, especially a bye week when things were going well. It wasn't like you got donkey stomped and came in being down. The thing that pissed me off the most is that how the fuck are we this deep into the season and still can't fucking run routes right? Running backs have no fucking clue where they're going. Quarterbacks don't know who they're throwing the fucking ball to or when to throw the ball. They're all over the place. Everything was terrible today. I don't mind losing. Losing is not a problem. Sometimes you get your ass beat. Everybody takes a beating now and again. But when you're, 9 weeks since the last practice of preseason, you're over 2 months into the season, middle of October, and people can't run the fucking playbook right. I mean, you got Keystone Cops in the background running into each other in the backfield, into each other. On Donovan's 2 picks deep, there was one place to throw the ball each time. One time was to the inside. You've got to recognize the coverage and throw it away from the coverage. And the next time it was on the outside, and he threw it to the wrong place both times. I can take that if you're a freshman, true freshman, redshirt freshman, sophomore. But come on, man.
Okay, we're gonna mute Brad, and then Martin.
Yeah, I mean, it was rough. It was the opposite of what anybody would have expected, any logical person would have expected. Very surprising, uplifting win against TCU, not just a moral victory, but an actual victory. And then you think you have your quarterback for the rest of this season and the next season. And, whatever his remaining eligibility is in Zion Chris, and things just looked shitty, unfortunately, for him in his first drive or two. I mean, it was like the opposite in terms of what Donovan showed against TCU, or I forget which game it was, but essentially Donovan got an opportunity, Zion took over. And that's what it kind of looked like was going to happen today.
Boy, after 2 drives, Donovan looked all world.
Yeah, I mean, and I tweeted about it during the game, and he was running really well. He's never run that well. And going back to the TCU game, you see the athletic ability that they say he has, and you're not just assuming it's there. But, I mean, yeah, I don't really credit him for the pick at the end because the ball got deflected. I guess you can nitpick and say he can throw it higher, but at the end of the day, the ball got deflected. But the other 2 picks were just kind of like you just throwing the ball up trying to make something happen that wasn't there.
P4K.
It has been his issue in the past. But, and if this team gets behind like this, it's just essentially going to be chalked up to a loss because they're not to air it out and come back. They're going to win ugly games like we talked about in the past, and they have to make it ugly to be in them. And if they're in a position where they're trying to air it out and turn into the front and shoot Cougars of the past, it's just not going to happen with this roster.
No.
So, yeah.
The commenters so far are saying really nice things about Brad Towns, and that really bothers the shit out of me.
Guys, this is the first time you visually get to see this. This is what our previous podcast looked like for 3 years, and I think I've done a good job of keeping pretty balanced. But there's no balance. It's the old. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But I'm really mad. I'm passively aggressively
anger.
Mad.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
there's some anger.
I really hate the fact that the simplest thing. I mean, stupid penalties. I didn't even mention that. What?
There's still time. We're only 8 minutes in, Brad. You got time to get there.
The first play of the game was the dumbest penalty I've seen this entire year. You kick it into the end zone, and the returner hesitates and then decides to return it from 5 yards in. And you're thinking, oh, shit. And you tackle him at the 13-yard line, 14-yard line. And then Latravion McCutcheon is called for a face mask. I don't know how you get a face mask on a kickoff, but it happened. Brad, take a breath. And
I mean, you're at a point right now is that this is on the coaches. They've got to get their players. They got to get their attention. Now, I don't know what's going on. In my day, what would happen is I would get motherfucked in front of everybody until my ears bled. And then I would get run into the dirt until I could not stand, until I was puking all over the place. And then eventually I find myself just getting left out.
Yeah.
So at what point do you say you fuck up one more time, you're done? You go back to the bone pile, and you're not going to get out again until you can do this repeatedly. Be successful repeatedly. Do it in
Who
practice.
are you directing this at, though?
Everybody.
Yeah, that's a good. Okay.
Everybody.
I mean, putting everybody at the back of the line.
Same thing goes with coaches too. Shit, I would, if Barbe can't get it done, promote somebody, demote him. I mean, everybody's got to be held accountable.
Yeah. Timeout. Star Pizza. Brad Towns.
See, that's probably the problem. I haven't had Star Pizza in a while, and I'm kind of hangry too.
Well, I tell you what. Why don't you order some? We'll take care of it. We'll buy you Star Pizza tonight, just to get your levels a little more normal.
Yeah,
Star Pizza, 3 locations in Katy, Shepherd and 59, Harvard and Washington. you deserve it. You sat through some crap tonight, this afternoon.
Yes. It's a good time to depression eat. Also on Star Pizza, congratulations. They were named the People's Champion, #1 pizza in City of Houston. Well deserved.
Yep.
They've won it for 25 years for me.
Notice
they got one official. They got an official one, so it's awesome.
Okay. For president, same guy. I'm sunburned. You know, I was sitting inside and I'm sunburned. I have no idea how this happened. I went to the airport yesterday, and then I went to a casino, and then I came here. I haven't been outside, so I don't know when that happened. Preach as to Towns. Houston was on their bye week. My issue is the spelling of the word bye. I don't know that that's the week they were on.
They definitely got it pushed this week. So yeah, you can call it bye.
Yeah. Gutting a poor roster. Donovan forced those 2 interceptions. Towns sitting here with my wife. But you said it all. Poor wife.
Hey, Martin, you guys, both of y'all were right earlier. In the first half, I was sitting there. It's like, damn, Donovan's getting rid of the ball. He's throwing the ball on time. He's looking good. Throwing the ball well. Getting rid of the ball. Putting it in the right place.
And being aggressive in the run game.
In the second half, I'm literally sitting here at home yelling, get rid of the ball. Get rid of the ball. Get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you... Mm-hmm. I wish we had an all-22 that we could take a look at.
No, you don't.
No, I do, because the reason why is because I'm wondering what are our quarterbacks looking at pre-snap? I mean, I don't think they're looking at the field, because how can you not see some of the blitzes that are coming? How can you not be aware that they are coming?
I don't know.
Or at least say, okay, I don't know if he's coming, but he's fucking uncovered, and if he does, I'm going to die.
I mean,
there were several times with Donovan in the game where, I mean, it's like he didn't even feel the pressure coming backside where guys were coming clean.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of a lot of that might just be, maybe the tackle does his job better. Some of it could be him picking up a blitz, pre-snap, but yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was emphasis by Kansas to blitz to force him to make a quick decision, and it worked. I mean, at one point they said they had 5 sacks, and I think that was in the third quarter, so I'm sure they got more. Poor Uwe got sacked in his one drive. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I've watched any of Kansas prior to today. I don't know if they generally blitz, but it seemed like an obvious emphasis today, whether it was because they wanted Donovan to make a quick decision or Dion, or they just thought that the whole line was going to be able to handle the extra pressure.
I think it's probably both. I mean, if you're a defensive coordinator, I mean, we've watched enough of us to know that, you know what? I know that these guys make terrible decisions under pressure. I'm not going to let them be comfortable at all.
Yeah.
And even if they catch you in a blitz, they're not going to fucking complete it. These guys aren't accurate. You kidding me?
God
forbid the wind blows.
I don't know what that means. Oh man. Does U of H play Kansas next year? I don't think they do.
In football?
Yeah.
Do we already have next year's?
Well, you have your opponents. You don't have your schedule necessarily. Mm-hmm. I'm looking right now to see. Kansas is not on the schedule, which is great.
It won't matter. I mean, it wouldn't matter because Jalen Daniels will be gone. And
he's a redshirt junior. I just looked it up.
He's been there like 6 years.
He's been there 20 years. He's a redshirt junior.
Hasn't the Casey guy that caught 2 touchdowns, but didn't he win the game against Texas? Like whenever they were the huge underdogs in that game. Am I crazy? And that was like 2020, right?
He caught that pass. I'm like, is that the same guy? Is that the same? How long's he been there?
He's got to have 3 degrees at this point.
I would hope so.
Jalen Daniels in 2 games against U of H is responsible for 9 touchdowns. You never need to see that guy again. And it was 5 2 years ago. It was 4 today. And I mean, if they didn't just go brain dead there for about 4 series in the middle of the game, it could have been 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
When I think defensively, we made a couple of plays. You know, we're still overrunning the ball.
There's a lot of that. Over pursuing. Missed tackles.
I'm able to overlook it early in the season, just youthful exuberance and guys really wanting to get to the ball, but you got to play under control. I mean, I love the engine, I love the intensity, but you got to play under control. And I feel bad for who was it? I feel bad for Guzman because he got put on a poster in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, he tried to fill the gap, and he literally fell over on his face as the running back juked him and went 60.
It was not pretty. So they went on a 15-play drive to start the game. After that penalty brought them to the 29, they were on a 15-play drive, which was one of the most impressive things I've seen this year.
Yeah.
They converted a 4th down. It just made all the plays.
Was it a 9-minute drive to start the game?
Right at 9 minutes, yeah.
I mean, that was a good sign for me. It's like, hey, we're going to get this whooping over with quick.
It was a quick early part of the game. Then they had the 1-play drive for the score, which my favorite thing in football is create a turnover and then step on their throat.
Yes.
And that's exactly what they did. That throw may have been really dumb, but a great play was made in the end zone. Touchdown there. They had a 6-play drive and a 7-play drive. And so you had a 15-play drive to start it, and then 14 plays scored the next 21 points. And U of H had no idea where it was coming from.
No.
And Donovan goes in and has 2 really nice drives. And you think, okay, this could be something. You score any time before that half, and you've got a pretty good opportunity right around midfield in that last full drive. You had a chance. And they went with the running back side split next to Donovan. And then they tried that flea flicker. And I just do not understand why you're running those 2 plays. I have not seen the double running back play in practice this year. I've been to every single practice. Okay. I missed 1 in the preseason, and I've been to everything during the season that they let us go to. I have not seen that play run. I've not seen that formation. Well, why are you breaking it out? And then, I mean, clearly they didn't have any clue what was happening.
Well, and the thing is that I'm not even hating on the play itself.
The execution was terrible.
Well, whenever he threw the ball, I was like, okay.
I'm talking about the running play before that, where they had the 2 and they ran into each other.
Oh, then I wasn't paying attention. Then.
And then the next play is when you do the flea flicker, and he throws the interception.
Yeah.
And I just don't know about all that. Carlisle may legitimately battle for playing time. Carlisle's small. He needs to gain some weight. And by weight, I mean like not physically the same, but it's like Hakeem coming in his freshman year when he was 6'10" and weighed 180 pounds. Okay, we need to bulk up a little bit for Austin Carlisle to get on the field early in the season.
Oh, he'll be here at he'll be here.
He'll be here in January.
I tell you what, any recruits looking at U of H and they're looking at, hey, I want to get in and I want to play early, they should be licking their chops and saying, I could play. I could literally come in tomorrow and start playing immediately, like tomorrow, not December. I'm talking about tomorrow. Literally, that's how bad this team is playing right now.
Is Baylor really beating Texas Tech right now?
Yes, they were earlier.
It's 38-21.
38-21. Yes.
Friggin' Lord. The Baylor Bears, coached by Dave Aranda, what is Tech's 5-1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Colorado hammering Arizona.
Arizona's not that good.
No, I didn't expect.
I don't think Arizona's very good at all. I don't know if Colorado is any good.
Knock on wood.
Uh,
Well, Colorado's got one thing going for them. They got a good quarterback. And look across college football. If you have a good quarterback, you have a chance to win it all. That's how few. That's how few.
10.
Yeah, that's how few good quarterbacks there are this year. And I think that I really do believe that that's the way things are going to be going forward with the transfer portal. You got to have a good quarterback. Whether and it doesn't mean, I'm not saying you don't have to have a 5-star quarterback. You have to have a good quarterback who can play under control and execute the basics and just protect the football at worst. If you've got a quarterback that can be a game manager, if you will, a guy that can go out and complete 65-ish%, a guy who can go out and make the routine throws, maybe have 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 6 interceptions. You've got a superstar, and you're going to be at the top of the league.
Martin, do you agree with that?
In theory, sounds great. Yeah.
Just as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, any good quarterback play is going to win you games. I mean, it's the single most important position because of how much they're involved in every play, because they're literally involved in every play. But I mean, Shedeur Sanders is running for his life and completing passes on a dime. Like, he is otherworldly. I think people don't really want to give him the credit because of everything that goes into Colorado. So you either hate them or you love them. But he is really winning them games with his arm and his ability to complete passes. He's not just game managing, and I know that's not the point you were making, Brent, but they're in games because he is just nuts. And of course, Travis Hunter is a mutant. But yeah, I mean, if you're getting what Brad says from your quarterback, but you still have very competent O-line play and good defense, absolutely, that's going to win you a lot of games. But that can't be the shining star on your team. If that's the production you're getting, I think you need a lot more from other areas.
Yeah, I just think that quarterbacks these days are going to beat your own team more than they are beating the opponent.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's hard. It's going to be increasingly hard for quarterbacks to be consistently on the same page with receivers because they just don't have the extra time that you develop that off the field, going from 2 or 3 summers together, where what your receiver is going to do, where he's going to break off a route, where he's going to be, what he's going to read whenever it comes down to actually making a read, and you're not throwing it, to the wrong direction of where he cut,
Right. Or you're assuming he's going to run the route and he doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, they could be just running something completely different, having no clue what the hell's going on.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that, I mean, the Blue Bloods are going to be the Blue Bloods, but the teams that figure out how to bring in O-linemen and can develop the guys together for 2 to 3 seasons, of course, they're going to have to continually redo that. But those are going to be the teams that succeed, because you're going to be able to find fast guys on the outside. You're going to be able to find basketball players you can throw the ball up to. It's essentially what Kansas did on that play. The guy was just bigger than Jeremiah Wilson, and Jalen Daniels gave him a shot. But you're going to be able to find skill guys. It's the teams who can put together O-linemen who are comfortable in the way that we want a quarterback and a receiver to be, knowing what your left tackle is going to do as a guard, you're not going to have to compensate for the fact that he just blows an assignment. That's truly going to be the biggest hurdle for teams in this era of college football. And I'm not 100% certain that the transfer portal was going to be the virus that it has been in the past with the new changes to like NLIs not existing in the same capacity. I don't know if guys are going to be able to transfer as willy-nilly, but I mean, obviously they're still going to have the ability to transfer.
Why do you think that changes anything?
So from some people that I've talked to that work in the personnel side of things, so NLIs don't exist anymore. National letters of intent. It used to be you could sign as many as you want essentially and then you enroll at the school you want to go to. You can back out of it. It's going to turn into, I forget the wording, but essentially like a financial aid agreement.
Right.
And you can't sign multiple of those.
Right. I think it's good. Grant and aid.
Right. And so once you sign with a team, that's your team. It's more of a contract than it has been in the past. And I imagine that language is going to be built into those with NIL promises. Whereas, hey, we promise you, let's just throw out a number, $100,000 for the next 2 seasons. If you want to leave after this year, you owe us whatever we paid you. And I don't think it's going to be illegal for a school to do that because they're going into individual contracts with kids going forward. And so, yeah, I mean, you will be able to transfer, but it's going to kind of be like officers in the military where like you're signing an agreement to get an education and all that. But if you back out of it, which you have the ability to, you're still going to be on the hook for the money that you have used to that point.
And I think
that's my theory.
No, and I think that's exactly what they're going to try to do, but they're going to run into a really, really, really big problem, and that's going to be players are going to organize. Yes. They're going to collectively bargain, and the Supreme Court will come back and lock it all down. I mean, they will force it, and then what you have. I mean, I know that that's a thought process of what these schools are actually thinking, but schools make stupid decisions all the time.
Sure.
And this would be a very, very poor decision without trying to come up with some sort of solution to how do we make this equitable without forcing players' hands to organize, because they don't want college sports does not want a union.
No. Absolutely not.
2 years ago, I would have said, maybe a year ago, I would have said you're right. But things are so out of whack that might be the way to get them back to where they're manageable. It's just, I mean, Kelvin Sampson went so far this week to say that guys are just going to the highest bidder. And that's a guy that lives on his relationships. Right. And building something like that. And he even says they're just going to the highest bidder. And I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know if you're going to be able to make contracts that limit players the way that Martin said. I think they'll fight back on that. But
for sure.
Thank y'all for getting away from this. We got Brad's blood pressure down under 300. And appreciate that. Getting back to this game, in a way, I knew last night that this was not going to go very well. My mother fell and went to the emergency room. She broke a bone. She separated her shoulder. And I was not there. My sister took care of it. I got up at about 3:30 this morning, went to Waffle House, and it had been demolished basically. And I knew, they're renovating it. I've never seen a Waffle House renovated.
Well, that definitely looks exactly like this team today.
Yes.
Bombed out.
I went and found another Waffle House. Things worked out for me. Didn't work out for anybody else here. How many more screens will we see that go nowhere? Lots.
At least another 40.
Yeah. I think Houston is worse than the Big 12. Maybe.
TCU could suck
it. Very well could be. You might end up worse than TCU overall. We'll see.
Hey, but we still won, so they can suck it.
That's true. That's not the one I wanted. It was still in this one. The SMU is killing it in the ACC. I don't know. SMU did get a head start. They built something, and we'll see if that's sustainable and if there's an ACC in a couple years.
Well, I mean, hats off to them. They are legitimately they're doing a good job. They did what we have proven to be incapable of doing. They lost their head coach to a local rival, and instead of
they got
panicking,
better.
Instead of panicking, they went and hired the best possible candidate they could go out and hire.
Yeah.
They didn't do like us and have to make a really shitty hire and then suffer for a few years before you go out and make another good one.
The Cougars that left the program, can they redshirt? Yes, both played 4 or less games, so they can both redshirt and transfer. That's Juwan Gaston and Adami Take.
Yeah.
The true freshman skill players are getting more and more reps. DJ Butler got in the game late and ran the ball really hard. Burnett is getting some carries. It did not go well in the first half for him, and I don't know what he did late in that game. Rigel got some play today. Was on the field a lot. I mean, why not? Your other guys aren't producing, and some of it's they're not getting the ball. And Joseph Manjack has had one of the most frustrating couple weeks. He had a rough day today. And Brad, I disagree with you that he caught that ball in bounds.
No, he did.
I don't think he did.
His right foot was down.
I think he was still trying to catch it, and then his foot came up.
Nope. When the ball hits his hands, it sticks. There is no juggling. There is no bobbling.
The fact that the referees agree with you proved that I'm right.
You do have a point there.
Yeah. So I love that guy. I think he's great, but I don't know if he was in. He'll probably set me straight Monday morning.
I'm sure.
Is it? I think y'all will agree. This team did not come to play today.
No.
And that's the third or fourth time, I think, UNLV, Iowa State, Cincinnati, and Kansas. That's unacceptable. This was the third highest scoring game of the year for U of H at 14 points.
Oh my God.
3 out of 7. If that tells you much about what you've seen. And it's also the most points they've given up this season. I think the number was Cincinnati 34 before that. Dakota White went out of the game. I don't think he came back. I don't think he was warm. I don't think he even warmed up after the half. Stephon Johnson did not make the trip with a concussion. Need to monitor that. Tank Jenkins went out and then came back in. And that's 3 starters on offense that you didn't have in the second half for a large chunk of the game. I am not saying that's any excuse for what you said.
No.
Not saying that.
No.
But it is a factor.
Excuse me.
But you can't commit 4 turnovers and think that you're going to win a football game.
No.
U of H has been among the worst in the country at turning people over.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, the quarterbacks, and this surprised me a little, only had 6 interceptions going to this game. I thought it would have been more. But then you have 4 more today, and that number does not look very good.
Yeah, they made up for it today.
Yeah. ESPN will come out with the game time for next week. I don't think you're going to have to worry about, are they going to put them on ESPN or is Fox going to grab them? I don't think that's a worry. I think you're going to be on ESPN Plus again.
Yeah.
Probably play a 2:30 game.
I'm I was hoping noon. I'd like to go ahead and get this shit over with.
Yeah, U of H just scheduled a game for 8 a.m. So,
Hey,
man,
we got basketball coming up. So I mean, we're about to get into some real stuff.
Yeah, you're 8 days away from that exhibition with A&M, and 16 days away from that first game with Jackson State. I'm getting around more and more around this team, and it feels weird to be this close. The media day is this week, so we'll see. No speed to spy the quarterback. I think they were exposed again for over pursuing, but also your defensive line did not have much success. Kansas did a great job of limiting what the defensive ends could do, and just ran right around them. I mean, there was no. You didn't tackle well, so to call out the linebackers, especially, I don't think is fair because I don't think any unit on that defense had a nice day.
No.
If I asked you who played the best on the defense, well, go ahead, Martin.
As far as like the defensive line, I was getting a little frustrated because they weren't getting any pressure, but I thought maybe the intent was to contain Daniels in the pocket as much as they could because it did seem like things were set wide. The DNs were, but even in that, they weren't able to do that. And for what it's worth, I mean, if we had a guy on the other side that could spy and run with Jalen Daniels, he'd be a first-round pick probably if he was, able to be, athletically do that. So, we didn't have a guy that could do that, but not a lot of teams do.
If Jalen Daniels only filmed were U of H games, he'd be a first rounder. He'd be a high first rounder.
If you're looking to try to contain Jalen Daniels, I mean, let's be realistic. You've got to hit him in the mouth. You've got to be able to create penetration in between the two guards on the offensive line. You've got to push straight into his face and make him go outside. You can't rely on trying to get around the edge or hold him or contain him on the outside and let him run for 30 up the middle. It's got to come straight up the gut. And if you do, then you can really rattle him. If not, then he's going to roll. He's going to have a big day.
Yeah.
And then he's going to pull off the throw that he made to the pylon, the front pylon, where he's running full speed and dropped a dime 40 yards downfield. It's one of the best throws I've seen in years. I mean, that was
one of the best plays. I mean, just all around.
I don't know how. I mean, that's a play you make it, and that's a video game play. You just don't do those things.
And thankfully, they replayed it because that camera operator on the sideline sucked today.
Was it really as bad as I've heard?
It was real bad. He was like in like a 15 to 20 yard range, and he kind of tried to stay there. So anything that was like thrown past that down the field, he would catch it like as the play was made. Like the guy was getting tackled, so you didn't really see, the action when it happened.
Sounds. If someone goes to Star Pizza and doesn't want pizza, what should they choose?
Oh man, what do you like?
Whatever you got.
Okay, fettuccine Alfredo with chicken, the rosemary chicken, delicious. The cannelloni is great too, but the lasagna, the meat lasagna.
I had the lasagna. I'm going to tell you, I had it last week, and I went to lunch with Galen and had the lasagna. Just wanted to try something different. It's pretty good. Yeah. It was heavy for lunch, like it was nap time. Oh yeah. But really liked it.
When I want to kind of keep it a little bit low on the sugar and the carbs, go with the nice big giant salad, and for me, I like to get a couple of meatballs on the side. Salad with meatballs. Hell yeah, it's delicious. Meatballs are like this, dude.
I've never heard of that as a meal, but
fantastic.
Okay. Salad and meatballs. Martin, we're going to take a little short break. Brad? Why not let Ali start?
Why not? I don't
Yeah.
see any reason why not. I am 100% in support. I would open up competition next week. Team wide open competition next week. The two guys starting at 1 and 2 that are battling first. We're going to do a Royal Rumble, if you will. Two guys in the ring first.
And every 2 minutes, you bring another guy in.
No, you put in Huey Ali and Holman Edwards.
I hear Indiana Ouija's music.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
My God!
Yeah.
No,
All right.
I would literally open up the competition for everybody. You want the job? Somebody's got to go take it. And I don't care. I don't give a shit who wins for that day. Whoever wins, do it 3 days in a row. I don't care. Whoever wins gets the nod. I don't. If you wanted to play a joke and have a manager do it, and if he won, I would suit him up and throw him out there.
Okay.
I'd let everybody know that this is based on merit, and I don't give a shit what you did last game. I care what you did last practice. I care what you did last rep. Can you replicate that every single time you do it? And if you can't, get to the back of the line. That's it. There's no more, no favorites, no nothing.
Okay. I mean, I don't have anything. Okay, so Zion Chris left the game due to a hamstring injury. I did not know this. He had his helmet on the entire time, and typically when you see that, that means he's ready to go. And
on his second. On one of the drives, he came out. They were saying he ran directly to the medical tent. The next series, he went out there. Donovan was out there standing next to him, and Chris went into the game. But then after that series, you didn't see him again. I feel for him. I mean, he's been hurt every time he stepped on the field.
Well, there you go. So he might not be in your Royal Rumble where you thought he was going to be.
Oh no, I'd still throw him out there. I mean, everybody's welcome.
Everybody's
throw
welcome.
Manjack in there. Let him try it.
I'm thinking Mekhi Muse. Sure, he's only 4 feet tall.
Throw Malik Carr in there. He almost had
that catch.
He almost had a highlight reel. I still give the big man credit, man. That dude is huge, and making a play like that, I don't care if it's out of bounds.
Rule of cool, it should have counted.
There you go.
Exactly.
Oh,
we can neither confirm nor deny.
No. There is no confirming this. It is not possible to talk about. It is a super secret scrimmage for a reason.
All I know is it's Fight Club, and we're not allowed to talk about Fight Club.
Nope, you can't talk about it. Now, tomorrow night, Kellen Sampson will go in depth about this scrimmage, break the whole thing down for us, bring his stats and everything, or he won't mention it. And it's possible he just won't mention it.
Maybe. But then he might. He
might just say.
You got to tune in to find out.
Honestly, it's the stupidest rule the NCAA has, and they have a lot.
It's really dumb.
Yeah.
That you have to have a super secret scrimmage. You can't even acknowledge that it happened. You can't talk about the game, the scrimmage, the game, whatever you call it. U of H and Chris Beard and Kelvin typically don't play a real game. They want to run situations and scenarios against each other, and which is great.
And they've been doing this for a long time.
A long time. Texas Tech and Texas and Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And if
allegedly,
you're right. Who knows if this has even happened?
Maybe
they just got on a bus.
Maybe we can ask that tomorrow night. Why in the world? What's the justification for the NCAA to make it a super secret, unspoken? Because it's the dumbest thing ever. I mean,
yeah,
I
agree with you, 100%. You're pretty smart for a fat guy.
I mean, hell, you would think that maybe that they would use these exhibitions as, a fundraiser and say, hey, this one doesn't count, but we're going to schedule the best team we can possibly get, and whatever money comes in, the proceeds go to whatever.
Well, that's what they're doing next week. Yeah, the fact that the charity was not NIL was surprising to me. But this is the first year I've ever seen it, that it's happening, and everybody's doing it.
Right.
But Kelvin typically likes that scrimmage. And then some years it's 2, as was the case 2 years ago. And then last year, I believe they had an exhibition against Pembroke. And then this year, it's the exhibition against A&M.
I mean, even if it was just like the practice where they're doing nothing but playing situations, I think doing that in front of a crowd would be kind of cool.
I've always thought they should do an open practice for students just to get them involved, get them excited.
Yeah.
I would probably be slapped by Kelvin Sampson if I suggested that in his company, but that's I have a lot of ideas that he doesn't really go for, and that's okay.
Probably within with good reason.
No, I mean, he's got his reasons. I mean,
you might have a point every now and then, but
yeah. Well, he's never suggested that I have. He said, good question once, and I framed that. It's on my LinkedIn now. So if you want to check that out. Brad, if I had to force you to tell me who played well today, who would you say?
There's only
you can't
one.
say Mekhi Muse.
Then nobody.
Okay. So Muse,
and everybody got excited about Muse on the touchdown. Honestly, the best play he made came before the touchdown when Donovan scrambled on 3rd and long. And he got the block to give him that extra 2 yards that set up the eventual touchdown.
Yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made a block on the outside, which, yeah, you're supposed to do that stuff, but it's the small things that I like to recognize that normally people don't pick up on. I'm more interested in how big plays happen. Everybody knows that, hey, guy got ball, ran fast, scored touchdown. But, it's that one little block or that one little wiggle that somebody helped create space.
That one little wiggle.
Yep.
Yeah. I like Mekhi as a guy. Like I think he's fascinating. He's a hell of a player.
It feels like you're about to blow him up here.
Nope.
I like him. I like him as a guy, but
however, no, not that. So before the game, I was down on the field, and this was the pre-warm-up. So when the guys come out in their pads, that's one thing. This is the before then. Guys come out, check out the surface, kind of get the vibe. Some guys are on their phone taking video. Liam Doherty was the first guy on the field, and that's what he was doing. U of H's buses are going by, heading to the airport down below me. But Mekhi was the only guy on the field, and the only guy I've seen this year that came out shoeless. And that's him and Ganji praying before they go in and get dressed. But I have never seen a guy just come out and become one with the grass, mainly because U of H just doesn't have any grass. But I thought that was pretty fascinating. I snapped a photo, and then he goes and has a big day. But U of H has 9 cop cars with their 3 buses. Good for them. They're going to the airport about 25 minutes away.
Yeah,
they're getting out tonight. I am not.
They were probably listening to my rant, and they needed extra protection.
Yes,
not going to do that. Not going to do that. See, no, I feel much. I feel much better. My blood pressure is normal now. I already checked it.
That's fine. So, besides Mekhi, you don't have anybody that had a good day. It's fair. I'm asking.
There's nobody. I mean, I can go back and might be able to make a case for somebody statistically, but he's the only one that passed the eye test for me.
Okay. I would go with DJ Butler. Ran hard.
Okay.
But I mean, it was late and not in, quality time. Martin, do you have anything on that?
Devin Williams made a couple of catches. I think each of his catches was actually for a first down.
Yeah.
Or at least close to. He had 3 catches. Probably the most work he's got in a game this year. Not to say that was like blowing anything away as far as statistics go, but it was his first, I guess, I don't know, consistent or regular, whatever the right word is, but most opportunities he got, and he did well. He helped to move the ball. But yeah, Mekhi Muse had more touches than anybody else by quite a bit. Donovan had his flashes, as he does, but defensively, there's nobody that I think has earned any real attention for today's game. So I will say McCutcheon was playing hard. Big McCutcheon.
Okay.
He was at least hustling through the end of the game, even when they were down. But yeah, it was him trying to chase guys down and stuff.
So when we got that going for us, which is nice.
Kansas had 12 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. Because U of H only ran 65 plays. Jeez. So 20% basically went for loss. 53 yards on tackles for loss. That's hard to do. 6 sacks, 4 interceptions. So you had 4 interceptions and 12 tackles for loss. So that's 16 plays out of your 65. That's a quarter of your plays or tackles for loss or a turnover. Brad, break this down. Is that good?
Let's see here. Let me put it in my no. Nope. Bama looks like they're going to lose, which is going to be great for me because in my top 25 poll that I do each week for ApolloSports.net, I will be dropping them from the top 25.
Okay. I had forgotten you did that. I can't believe you actually do. But
I do it every week, man. I stuck with it.
Okay. I totally forgot.
Mostly it's actually turned into a really kind of cool exercise where I don't have sympathy for AP voters, but I understand why the AP polls are complete shit.
Explain.
It all starts in preseason. It all starts with the fact that you got to come up with something in preseason. And so most of the teams coming in are going to be bigger schools who had better years last year. Nobody gave a shit that UNLV had a really good season last year. Nobody cared that Boise turned out to have a pretty good season and they returned a lot of production. Nobody cared that Army returned basically everybody. People were high on UTSA just because of what they did 3 years ago. But they didn't realize that they had a new quarterback in town. But then, so everything starts with the top teams and the normal big schools, and they get their usual spots. And then, so you'll have a couple of upsets early, and then some. Then you'll have Florida State doing Florida State things. And then all of a sudden, these teams are just all it is just moving somebody up because they didn't lose, and so you get really, really weird. Like I saw some people voting Nebraska. They started them in the top 25 to start the season because of Raiola. The next thing you know, some people had them like ranked number 15. I'm like, what are y'all doing? And so these weird things happen, and I actually had to stop myself. Like I was going through last week, and I had it my initial ranking that I had to write down on paper. I had Iowa State at number 4. I'm like, no. Let's back that out. I'll put them back at 9 where they belong.
Okay.
Because it's just, the ones who haven't lost just keep moving up, even though they don't belong being up there.
I don't know how this will play out, but Army and Navy could potentially play for the American Conference Championship. And then the next week, play the Army-Navy game. Because the Army-Navy game comes after championship weekend.
Right.
Potentially, one of those teams could win the AAC title, win the Army-Navy game, and then be in the playoff like 3 days later. I don't know how that works.
What if Boise runs the table?
Well, that screws up everything I just said, and that's a really rude thing to do.
Yeah.
Speaking of rude, we're gonna have to get rid of this history teacher.
Hey, I had to leave that up there. I left that up there for a while. I thought you saw
Yeah.
Yeah,
it.
you did.
I don't know. Maybe you did. I've really just been kind of out of it. I think we're going to end here pretty soon. I just don't think.
Did you see Randy's contribution? I agree with him.
I do. Oh, there is absolutely no identity on offense, except that you push your receivers way out wide to where none of the quarterbacks can actually throw the ball to. And it's just a ploy to get some space in the middle, which is why you have two tight ends in there most of the time. It's not working. And the defense did not look good. And it's you did it in Cincinnati, you did it here, and UNLV, at least in the first half. So they've had some bad ones. But there's some ugly, that's for sure.
Looks like the garbage truck drivers put the nail in the coffin. Bye-bye, Bama.
Okay. Well, I'm sure this is devastating to them after their last couple weeks. But anyways, Martin, what are your final thoughts tonight?
I guess strap in, fans. I mean, this is. I can't even say this is what you should expect the rest of the year because I don't really know what you should expect week to week.
No.
After the TCU game, it seemed like things were getting figured out, and now I feel almost like I know we scored 14 points today, but this felt almost as bad as watching the Kansas State game last year, where it was just like, okay, this is just from the first drive. It's just the team didn't show up. It felt super flat. I didn't have any, comfort that things were going to go any better during the rest of the game. And yeah, Donovan showed those spurts and the offense, put some points on the board, but it was for nothing. I mean, I don't come out of that game thinking, okay, well now the offense should try this. I thought, like I wrote about, that they figured something out, getting the ball out quick. They'd not gotten the ball out that quickly after the snap and got it out to to playmakers fast so they can do something. And you see Zion Chris with his ability to make plays with his legs. If he got hurt, obviously that goes out the window. You can't run with him. But I don't know what the offense is trying to do on a week-to-week basis. It seems to be that in the past, Fritz, his thing was running the ball and controlling the game that way. Obviously, this team isn't built to do that. We've talked about that before. At least not in the sense that they're just going to line up and maul you and push you down the field. Going to have to get more creative with it and get guys in space, and do like what you did against TCU. Defensively, they put up a stinker, which sucks for them because if they put up a stinker, it's going to look like this because the offense isn't going to be able to match with 40 points to make it a game. Mm-hmm. So when the defense has a bad day, it's going to look that much worse for the defense because of the disparity in the score at the end of the day. Yes. If the defense is able to make it a game, then we only lose by a touchdown or a field goal or whatever it may be. Ben Baylor put up 50 points today, and I was looking forward to going to that game on my birthday, thinking that might be another W, or at least the opportunity for one. But now it's just like I'm gonna get to go and hang out with you guys that day, I guess. I mean, I don't really know what else to look forward to. I'll get to see some of my old coworkers if any of them still remember me. But yeah, man, I mean, it's pretty unfortunate. I I don't know that the answer is purging the roster, just because. I mean, it's going to kind of do it itself anyway with how things work. But I think you try to keep as many guys in that you think can play football as possible, and build for the future, and try to create an identity. I think the defense is in a good spot. They just need better players and more time. Not to say that these guys aren't good, but it is what it is.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, in a long-winded way of saying, you're just going to have patience that this is eventually going to work out. Fritz has done it before. Ryan, the smartest of the three of us, thought this was a 3-win team, and he's looking the closest there. So
I know that was jarring to hear.
But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything of value to really say other than you're going to have patience that this is going to work out with this coach, because at the end of the day, from the inside looking out before, this is what you guys said you wanted. So here we are.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to give them time to develop players. What you're seeing, the quarterbacks that are really working out, for the most part, are the guys that are in their second or third years in a program. If you don't think these two guys are the guy, then what you're saying is that our expectations are in year 3. We're going to bring in a new quarterback, and it's going to take a year. And then in that third year, things are going to start working out. But you're just going to, I mean, it's hard to say on a post-game rant, scream about things show, take it easy, relax, wait. It just doesn't work in the format. But it's really the truth is you're just going to have to be patient and find the small wins. The thing about the Baylor game, Martin, is that every team will crap the bed a couple times in this league, probably in all of college football. I mean, Alabama's showing you that they're doing it every week. And if they lose today, they're a very close to have lost 3 games in a row. And, I mean, there's 2 or 3 teams that you're like, they're legit. Unfortunately, UT is one of them.
Yeah.
Now, who knows what happens with Georgia tonight? I'm going to get to go watch some of that. It feels like I haven't watched a football game in a while. No offense, Cougs.
Hey, we had a really good bye week with some great games. We were treated
Did we?
quality.
You meant the other games.
That's true. I did watch a little football last week.
Yeah, we had some really interesting, entertaining games.
Hashtag bye week.
Hashtag BI.
Towns, you need to try that out. See if you like it.
What's that?
The bye week.
No thanks.
Oh, okay. I just felt like the very first play set the entire tone. The penalty on that kickoff, that everything had worked out, and then you get called for a face mask, and Kansas goes right down the field. You had a hands to the face. You had holds. Just, it'll be nice when U of H gets a 5-yard penalty again. I feel like it hasn't happened in a month. It's surprising. There's, I can't remember. I know it's happened, I'm sure. A false start on this offensive line. But you get 15-yard chop blocks and hands to the face and whatever else. Yeah. What are you laughing at over there, Towns?
I just saw Maryland went up 29-28 over USC.
USC, another one of those full cross countries.
USC's moving with 47.
47
seconds.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Brad, what are your final thoughts of what you saw today? Okay.
Insert poop video.
Emoji, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
115 guys, 1 cup. That's about what it was. Terrible. Every one of them should be embarrassed. They should feel really bad about themselves. And you should only eat bologna sandwiches. They should only have bologna sandwiches on the way home. Maybe a Nutty Buddy, just like they're in jail or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it did not sound very supportive.
So the good news is we're not Florida State.
Okay,
We didn't pay $12 million for this.
you did not.
And we don't suck so bad that a team we had never lost to didn't even rush the field. So
Wait, what?
Florida State sucked so bad. The first time they ever lost to Duke.
Wow.
And they didn't
right.
didn't even rush the field. They're
And
like,
Duke was like, "We're good."
we'll do that. We might do that against Wake.
I mean, that is really hurtful.
Oh yeah, that's like somebody kneeling during the third quarter. So yeah, there's nothing to learn from this game other than just a new level of shame and embarrassment. And
You've had a lot of games like that, though.
Not
there's
like
nothing to learn from.
Well, there's stuff that there's nothing to learn from. There's games like that, but today was a new level of terrible, coming off a bye week, and it's not. I'm fine with losing 42-14. I'm fine with that because it's going to happen. We're going to get the shit kicked out of us at least 2 more times this year, at least 2, minimum, and I'd be fine with another. I'd be fine with another 42-14 whipping. What I'm not fine with is the way they went about it. The constant mental mistakes that can't happen. That can't happen. You've got to know your plays. You've got to know what you're doing out there. You've got to come prepared. Figure out who you want to put the blame on, or just everybody take ownership of it. I mean, because that's what it boils down to. Everybody has to own that. Whether you're first team, third team, everybody's got to own it, and everybody's got to do their job. Their one job, and that's it. And that's top to bottom. They got to be better, and this is inexcusable, especially this late in the season. I mean, it was pathetic. But anyway, we got more games left. He said it's going to happen again. We are going to get destroyed again, so get comfortable with that fact. But I think we also have a few more good games left in us too. So that's the positive point of it. I don't want to say that it can't get worse because it will get worse, but it'll also get better.
What does that look like? Are you still on board that a bowl game is possible?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
I'm holding on to that until we are mathematically eliminated.
2 and 5. It's still. I'm with you. It's not. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
We're getting real close. But hey, man, this conference is really, really freaking. I mean, who had Baylor 59, Texas Tech 35?
Baylor's still scoring? Is that game over yet?
No, 59-35. 2 minutes left.
Oh God.
At Texas Tech.
Yeah, Lubbock's weird, man. That doesn't surprise me. Then that makes it a little bit more.
I mean, that none of that makes any sense.
It makes all the sense in the world to me. Like every Baylor girl I've ever known, they never stop scoring. Tomorrow, join us for Kellen. Brad's going to have some more uplifting words. Motivational speaker extraordinaire, Brad Towns. I think that's it.
Well, see, I've got my basketball hoodie on already.
What does that even mean?
Well, this is the hoodie that I wore all basketball season.
Okay.
I wore it early, and we were playing well, so I just stuck with it, and I wore it all the way to the end.
I did a podcast this week for a radio station up here in Kansas, and it was a basketball, and they're like, "So, how would you define last year?" I was like, "Well, they won the Big 12 in their first season," and I started going through the crazy games that I went to. BYU coming down from whatever 6 down in the last minute. Texas in overtime, Baylor in overtime, OU, that last second shot from Jamal Shedd. I mean,
Yeah.
there was some crazy stuff that happened last year. Like, you hope for one of those games in a season, and you got 4 of them on the road. And
Well, even Iowa State and TCU, they just went the other way.
right. Yeah, Iowa State, you had that opportunity and you couldn't get the ball in. And then TCU is what it is.
But
But
that's
just crazy games. And
that's
those were
Big
the
12
first 2
basketball.
games, the first 2 road games. You beat West Virginia, then you had those 2. And this year you get 2 more games of it. And then you get in Las Vegas against 2 top 25 teams and Notre Dame. It's going to be nuts. And we're going to, I mean, no one covers this basketball program like we do. And we're adding more people to cover it. We're adding more resources because I like just throwing more people at it. Let's see all the different angles and what we can do. We have some new people that I'm really excited about what they're going to add. We'll be breaking that out very soon. I promised some big announcements. We're going to start those maybe tomorrow night. And then Kellen, and I was hoping to have some football players on, but I'm guessing we're not going to get them tomorrow. Just my guess. Thank y'all so much. GoCoogs.com. We'll be here all week. We'll practice Monday morning and at homecoming at 8 a.m. on Saturday. Show up at 8 a.m.
Yes.
Don't show up at 8 a.m. It's not going to be at 8 a.m. But I think it's going to be 2:30. I think that's like the most likely scenario. If it's a night game, I think that's bad. I think that's not the way you're going to want to go.
Oh no, that would be brutal. Let's just get it over with. Get us at noon.
Well,
and
I think you can win this game. Is the crazy? I think you can beat Utah.
I think we can beat anybody left on the schedule, and I think we can also lose by 70 to everyone left on the schedule.
It's possible.
And that's a beautiful thing about having such a terrible team right now.
I think there's a possibility to beat Utah and to beat Kansas State at home. They play the Sunflower Showdown next week against this Kansas team, and then they come to U of H. I think there's a chance for a letdown, but you got to go beat Utah this week. I think it's possible. I know
you thought I was
what you saw. I think that's your 3rd win. You could beat Utah.
Hey, if we can get to 3 wins, remember, Cincinnati only had 3 wins last year.
Okay.
So just because you have a shitty season doesn't mean it's with a new coach. I mean,
well, look at BYU.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go from really bad to pretty good. We're going to go because when we started this, the sun was blaring right in my face, and the sun is basically gone now. And I got to walk halfway across Kansas to my car. So thank y'all so much for watching. We'll do this again tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Brad and me and Kellen Sampson, we're just going to keep Kellen for like 90 minutes.
Godfather going to be around?
Efforting. He's getting ready to go to training camp. So it's, it's, we'll see how that goes, but
sure.
I don't know at this moment. So thank y'all so much. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow night.